Nobody would know what time it is here. It's getting quiet. All right. Good evening, everyone. And a beautiful evening it is, outside especially. Need to move it out there. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order and have a roll call.
Alderperson Robinson.
Present.
Hertz.
Here.
Tweet.
Here.
Swanson. Here. Parker. Here. Poulos.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
And Mayor Tomes.
Here. Thank you very much. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Remain standing for a moment of silence, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. We have a item number 5.
A Bible Missionary Institute Proclamation. Whereas over the past 25 years, Bible Missionary Institute has provided exceptional spiritual support to active and reserve military, Marine Corps, and their families. And whereas through non-denominational Christian leaders, Bible Missionary Institute has offered preaching, teaching, worship, prayer, and biblical counseling addressing both the spiritual and emotional needs of the Marines community. Whereas the Bible Missionary Institute has made significant contributions to the local community, supporting the Quad Cities Toys for Tots program, by assisting with toy sorting, distribution, and helping underprivileged children. And whereas in time of need, liaisons have traveled to visit Marines in hospitals and homes, providing comfort through prayer, cards, and financial assistance. And whereas in times of loss, they have been there for grieving families, attending memorial services, offering prayers, and presenting burial flags and shadow boxes on behalf of the Marine Corps. And whereas additionally, the Bible Missionary Institute has played a vital role in Marine Corps ceremonies, providing invocations at Marine Corps birthday balls, ceremonies, and family day events, reinforcing spiritual and communal bonds. And whereas through the tireless efforts, they have significantly boosted morale, supported retention, and promised the values of faith and service, making a lasting impact on Marines and their families. And whereas the Bible Missionary Institute's total dedication to Marines and their family is reflected and credited upon them, and we're in keeping with the highest tradition of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Service.
Now, therefore, I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, commend the Bible Missionary Institute for their superior performance in the execution of spiritual support while serving a religious liaison for the Rock Island Marines and families from November 1999 to November of 2024. Very good. Come on up. We have some representatives. We have the president, I think, of the Institute. Let's do, I think you got a camera there. The pictures for State 7. Very good. Thank you very much. There you go.
Very great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You can stand at the microphone if you wish to say something.
I will just say thank you.
Item B. Whereas the City of Rock Island, Illinois has a long and rich history of welcoming, celebrating, and successfully integrating diverse groups of people, and whereas the Mayor of Rock Island and the Rock Island City Council recognize that immigrants and refugees contribute essential skills as employees and entrepreneurs, thereby strengthening both our local economy and our cultural diversity. Whereas immigrants and refugees enrich our community financially, culturally, and in compassionate ways. Whereas immigrants and refugees reflect the very basis upon which the United States of America was founded, And whereas the Rock Island community strives for unity and harmony in our community and respects the essential human dignity of all people. And
now, therefore, I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, declare our support of immigrants and refugees, no matter their religion, race, nationality, or country of origin in Rock Island, Illinois, and call upon all other Illinois cities, townships, and communities of the greater Quad City area to join us in supporting all immigrants and refugees, and that we continue to celebrate immigrants and refugees' contributions to our community.
Hello, I'm Margie Mejia Carabello on behalf of Progressive Action for the Common Good, and as I co-chair the Quad Cities Immigration Coalition, we just want to thank you. Most importantly, as an immigrant myself, I want to thank each and every one of you in the city of Rock Island for being so welcoming. As a former 5th Ward Alderwoman and as a current school board member, I certainly am a Rock Islander and just really happy that you guys took our proclamation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Very good. Very positive thoughts. Public comment. We're going to start that. I would like just to remind people that we do have to limit it to 5 minutes per person and try to eliminate any duplication. If there's the same topic that you want to talk about, if you have some new things you want to bring up to our attention, everything else, that would be great. But if it's repeating, we appreciate it if you could just, even if you came up and said ditto, but as far as that goes. We typically allow a half hour total for all of these. We have quite a few people that signed up, so please make sure that we stay within the time limits to get everybody in. Otherwise, it would be at the end of the meeting if we can't get there. Okay? We got Kelly McKay.
So this is on, right? Okay.
Yep.
I'm Kelly McKay. I'm a wildlife biologist here in the Quad Cities, so I'm here to talk about the Milam Bottoms project. I feel like I've talked about bald eagles and Milam Bottoms more in the last 2 months, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because of the time limitations on going over, what a bald eagle night roost is, why it's important, what constitutes a night roost, or what impacts a night roost. Anybody who wants to know more about that, please feel free to come up and I'll talk to you forever after the meeting. But I want to hit on the most important point here tonight, and that's the fact that Milam Bottoms is the largest documented night roost for our national bird anywhere in the lower 48 states. It's the biggest one that exists, and it's right here in our own backyard. And just to sort of emphasize how important this site is, at the end of a 6-year intensive night roost study that we were contracted to do by the Corps of Engineers, we did a comparative study, and in that study we found that approximately half of all the bald eagles that spend the winter here in the Quad Cities absolutely rely on night roosting in Milam Bottoms. So that just indicates how important this one location is to our wintering eagle population. Anything that impacts that vital location is going to have a severe impact on our wintering population of bald eagles here in the Quad Cities. And that brings me to the proposed development down there of the marijuana dispensary and the truck stop. That activity will have an extremely negative impact on the bald eagle night roost at Milam Bottoms. And in particular, the truck stop is what I'm referring to. That's going to be the real problem. And again, if anybody wants to know why that's going to be such a problem, come up and talk to me afterwards. I'll be glad to let you know that information. But it will have an incredibly negative impact, and that impact is going to severely limit not only the size of the bald eagle population that we have here in the Quad Cities during the winter, but it's also going to impact the survival rates of those eagles, not to mention the economic impact that it'll have, not only for the city of Rock Island, but all of the Quad Cities. And I'll just finish, because I know we're short on time, I'll just finish by saying, I know the city has indicated several times to the media that they greatly appreciate and care about the protection and well-being of the bald eagle population that spends their winters here in the Quad City region. Well, now's the time to prove it. And the way you can prove it is by protecting the single most important piece of habitat in the entire region for this species. And the way you do it is by not proceeding with the development as planned right now. Bottom line is, you can have this development as being proposed, or you can have a vital and thriving bald eagle wintering population. Unfortunately, you can't have both. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Lori and McCullen? McCullen.
Good evening, thank you. I'm a Rock Island resident, and I certainly appreciate the idea of economic development. The only piece of this development at Milam Bottoms that I'm concerned about, it really is the truck stop and its impact on the eagle population. And I think the concern, as Kelly was stating, is also economic. I think you're going to get some unintended consequences by this development, because if we lose the eagles, they're not going to come back. And a lot of the tourism to our area is driven by the eagles. Certainly not all of it, but a lot. According to Visit Quad Cities, we have $1.3 billion in dollars generated to tourism in the Quad Cities. And we have 9,000 local jobs generated by tourism in the Quad Cities. And so I'm hoping that you'll reconsider that piece of the development because, as Kelly was saying, it is going to have a negative impact on the eagles. I'm also concerned about any potential environmental impact studies that you guys have had done. I haven't seen any of those yet. Maybe you've done some. But the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act, I think, could both be violated by this development. So I would really like to see some of that study done to see what the impacts could be, because certainly I know you guys would not want to cause that sort of problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Dave DeHard? Dave? I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Hi, my name is Dave Danel. I'm a Fifth Ward resident here in Rock Island, and I'd like to speak on behalf of the efforts of Project Now in providing an overnight shelter for homeless here in downtown Rock Island. I know that the homeless are not easy to look at, but they need to be seen. It's crucial. I want to start by thanking the staff of Project Now for their efforts. I volunteer at the shelter from time to time, and I see what they do. And if you think downtown businesses have had struggles dealing with some of the individuals, they deal with that kind of thing every night, up close and personal, and they do it with infinite patience and care, and I appreciate that very much. I should say, and having made that comment, I should say that I'm really only speaking of a minority of the homeless individuals who are frankly difficult, and I acknowledge that's a reality. I'm a political scientist. I'm retired from 34 years at Augustana College, and I'm aware that the homeless do not have a lot of political clout, and they don't vote, and they're a source of constituent complaints. I think that the homeless might have more, and this particular Project Now shelter, it might have more support among your constituents than you might realize. And let me explain why I feel that way. I'm here tonight, and I volunteer in part because of Donald Trump. I read the news, I see aid to people on the edge of starvation in Africa gone. I see funding for resettling refugees who are legally in this country suspended. And incidentally, some of those refugees have been sleeping at the shelter.
You're at 4 minutes, just so you know.
Am I done?
4 minutes. You got 1 more minute. Oh,
No, I haven't gone that long.
oh, excuse me. It's 2. I
Yeah.
apologize.
But I will be brief. Sorry if I'm going on. I see those things and I feel powerless. I feel like I need to do something. And I think a lot of people share that feeling. The homeless by going there to that shelter, I get to see the face of human suffering. And I think it's important. I'm glad Project Now is doing that, and I hope we all value that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dwight Ford. Dwight? Senior.
Dwight Ford Senior.
I apologize, I didn't see that.
I'm here tonight to speak for the homeless, those that are helpless, that are on our streets here in Rock Island County and city of Rock Island. I applaud Project Now for the work that they've done and the work that they're doing. I worked hand in hand with them. We fed those that are hungry and starving. We went out and clothed them. We did all that we could to do for them. But it's appalling and it's a disgrace that this subject should even come up. And when those that would assist them, seemingly this council has no heart whatsoever, has no conscience, been seared when they pass by these people on the street and would rather see them freeze to death and rather than trying to find a place for them to stay. And Project Now has done that. And they want to cut and run Project Now out of that position from seeing about these people. I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War, served in the United States Marine Corps. My father was a veteran of World War II, wounded. My son served in Desert Storm, Desert Shield, in the United States Marine Corps. My brother was 82nd Airborne. My younger brother was 29th Marines. It's a shame before God that men have died. And we just did the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag that said justice. There's no justice when the homeless is being treated like this and cast to the side. Walk by them and watch it happen and ignore them totally. I'm through.
Thank you. Tabitha DeFries.
First of all, I'm going to say a quick ditto to the people who are speaking about Milan Bottoms. They said it better than I could, and I appreciate their efforts to speak out about the importance of protecting that space. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience volunteering with the overnight winter shelter. I understand how abrasive some of the homeless can be. I've witnessed that firsthand many times. But also, oftentimes the first person to jump in between two of them when they're getting into an argument is another homeless person. They're a very diverse population of people, and a lot of the times people create this negative association with all homeless people have bad behavior. But you know, even when they do have bad behavior, I know I wouldn't behave perfectly properly if I didn't have somewhere to call my home. I wouldn't be able to maintain nobility when facing those inhumane conditions. As upsetting as it might be to see a homeless person in downtown Rock Island acting a little unhinged, it's a lot more scary to be in their position. Eliminating a homeless shelter doesn't make them disappear, it just takes them away from the people who are trained with how to handle them. Like Dwight said, you see a lot of activity there during the nighttime, but they're with people who understand how to de-escalate. If the homeless shelter is gone, they're still going to be here just wandering around unsupervised and getting into trouble. And this is also a very vulnerable group of people. A lot of them are on disability, and a lot of them are running from abuse. So I just think helping the homeless can be a point of pride if the city chooses it to be. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate everybody listening to me.
Thank you. John Duvigan. You're up next.
John Duvajunk. I am chairperson for the local Sierra Club Eagle View Group. And I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for meeting with us last week and hearing our concerns about we're calling it Casino West now, or Bailey West, is that the name?
Casino West.
Rather than just Milan Bottoms. But I'd only like to make 2 additional comments to the previous speaker. And one of those is we'd really like to hear a public commitment from the city to protect the remaining area of Milan Bottoms that's not in the development area, proposed development. I think that would go a long ways toward assuring citizens that we do care about the natural resources of the area. So if there's any way you can come out ahead of the public hearing next week to really commit the city to looking for some long-term commitment to that area. And one other thing, I'd like to urge you to still consider developing a management plan for the area, a long-term management plan. I've been involved in several other efforts of protection, and without a management plan, future successors to our voices tend to diverge and go off in different directions, and nothing meaningful ever happens. So we really need a management plan of some kind. I'm not sure where the funding would come from that, but it can be achieved through some grants and assistance from other agencies. But let's get the parks and recreation folks involved in this, and I'm willing to volunteer to help with that too. So thank you.
Thank you. Janice Schroll.
My name is Janice Scholl. I've been a resident of Rock Island for 53 years. I retired 13 years ago and volunteer for a lot of things that I feel need help. My latest one is serving as a volunteer hostess at the Project Now Christian Care Warming Center. The first time I went there, it was bitter, bitter cold. And just walking the 2 blocks, I had to park away. And I had a knee injury, so I was using a cane. I couldn't wait to get inside because it was so darn cold. As I approached the Project Now area where it started, several of the homeless people were way out on the sidewalk smoking. Several of them asked how I was doing, if I needed any help. I came inside. What I found was they were pretty much very respectful. Let me give you a background. I was an emergency department nurse. I worked evenings or night shift in the local emergency department for 30 years. These are the people that we see. When it gets cold and bitter, they have no place else to go. They'll show up in the emergency room because where else can they go? I have found over the years that most are pretty respectful. The ones that aren't are under the influence or have long-standing mental health issues. But these are all human beings, and we are called to look out for our brothers and sisters. And that's why I volunteer for these, and I hope that we will keep this program going because it certainly is a need. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Emily Cummings.
Good evening. My name is Emily Cummings, and I serve on the board of Project Now. I'm here today because there's been some discussion about potentially closing the Project Now shelter that is in existence. And I want to take a moment to refocus this conversation to the real issue on hand. Homelessness is not a Project Now issue. It's not a Rock Island issue. It's a national issue, and it's just getting worse. Project Now, Christian Care, and others have stepped in to provide shelter this winter, and that should be commended, not blamed. When no one else stepped up, these organizations ensured that people had a warm place to sleep instead of being out left in the cold. Project Now, though, isn't just providing temporary shelter. They're fixing this. They're actively working to house individuals and support them in rebuilding their lives. This isn't a Band-Aid program. They're getting people who are unhoused into homes. We need to stop looking at shelters as the problem and start asking what we can do as a city to ensure fewer people end up without a home in the first place. I urge this council not to cut off a lifeline for those who need it most. Instead, let's work together. Business owners, city leaders, service providers, and community members. We need to find constructive, compassionate solutions. We need policies and support systems that lead to housing stability, not just temporary fixes that push the problem elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Nina Struess.
Good evening. My name is Nina Struess, and I'm a lifelong Rock Island resident. I currently serve as the River Health and Resiliency Organizer at Prairie Rivers Network, where we work to protect and restore our rivers, return healthy soils and diverse wildlife to our lands, and transform how we care for the earth and for each other. Thank you for the chance to discuss an opportunity to protect Rock Island residents from severe flooding, generate revenue, and build a community legacy for generations to come. PRN and the National Wildlife Federation have been uplifting the opportunity to protect roughly 500 acres of wetlands in its southwest boundary. These acres sit within the roughly 3,500 plus acre wetland complex known as the Milan Bottoms, one of the Quad Cities' last largely intact and untouched natural habitats that provide a critical home to bald eagles, herons, mussels, and countless other species. Healthy rivers, floodplains, and wetlands are critical to ensuring resilient communities and wildlife and a robust Rock Island economy. These natural areas can soak up and store excess floodwater, both reducing the need to build costly flood risk reduction structures and improving the resilience to existing infrastructure like levees. It is well documented that severe weather events continue increasing in intensity and frequency. It is vital that we harness the power of natural systems as one of many tools to protect Rock Island's communities, wildlife, and our economy from future disasters. A 2024 climate risk report authored by PRN and NWF assessed and detailed the risks unchecked climate change brings to the Quad Cities' economic viability, natural assets, and public health. We integrated community input from city municipalities, nonprofit organizations, environmental experts, and state and federal entities at the outset, guiding scientific modeling with community concerns and desires. Flood modeling illustrates Rock Island is amongst the most at-risk cities in the QCA, given our downstream position, captures runoff from upstream communities along both the Mississippi and Rock Rivers and their tributaries. Wetlands, in addition to providing significant flood risk reduction benefits, are well-documented economic assets. In Chicago, urban wetlands are the most cost-effective way to control flooding and provide an average of $22,000 of benefits per acre annually. A Houston-based 170-acre wetland park will store up to 500 million gallons of stormwater and protect over 16,000 homes while providing outdoor recreation opportunities. Nearby communities will save $300 million from flood damage and every 500-year rain event. Developing the 500-acre wetland area, or even taking steps to encourage potential development in the wetland area through a TIF expansion, would increase flood risks for Rock Island, including by increasing impervious surfaces and decreasing available flood storage. Flood modeling in the area of proposed development, currently known as the Casino West site, shows that the area already experiences heavy floods, and development would increase flooding in the region, particularly downstream. The Casino West site parcel is lower in elevation compared to nearby neighborhoods. If developed, it is projected to increase flooding to these neighborhoods by up to 13%. PRN and NWF understand Rock Island desires economic growth. However, instead of expanding development into flood-prone areas, we encourage the city and council members to consider protecting the wetlands with a conservation easement or other comparable open space protection tailored to the community's desire for expanding its outdoor economy while also preserving the Milan Bottoms, which serves as a lifeline for the region's ecological health. This aligns with goal number 3 of the 2020 Rock Island Comprehensive Plan, which calls for preserving wetlands as vital hydrological and wildlife assets. PRN and Wildlife applaud the city's desire to develop a wetland management plan that will integrate community input, establish a maintenance plan, and preserve the area to benefit wildlife in the community. We urge the city to use the wetland management plan as a foundational step towards long-term wetland protection and management, ultimately conserving this valuable ecosystem through permanent easement and establishing a lasting legacy for generations to come. PRN and NWF are ready to serve as resources in this effort, helping identify funding opportunities and best practices to maximize both economic and environmental benefits. And I will tag on, I echo everything that has been said by Project Now speakers as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Brandy Vanderwalde. Where's Brandy? Oh. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Ron Lund.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. On January 17, 2025, the Lift Now shelter opened. The shelter has been open for 52 nights as of last night, providing emergency housing for 137 individuals. The shelter was the first and remains the only shelter in the Quad Cities that accepts men, women, and families in the same facility. Our hope is that we would not see any children in the shelter, but the reality is that we knew we would. The youngest individual in the shelter is 7 months old. The oldest is 73, a 72-year age gap in one shelter. You're going to hear that the homeless and by default Project Now is bad for the neighborhood and is killing economic development in downtown. On the walk over here, I counted 8 vacant buildings on the new 2nd Avenue of the block from 19th Street to 18th Street. Will these businesses be up and running April 15 when the shelter closes? Are the homeless the issue, or is it years of a district that offered nothing more than cheap drinks and those that were drunk causing problems? How quick do we forget that Rock Island PD having to station officers downtown to deal with fights, DUIs, and shots fired calls? You know what we don't have with the homeless? Fights, DUIs, and shots fired calls. There were complaints when news broke of Project Now purchasing the Starcrest building at 1830 2nd Avenue. What other business, let alone a nonprofit, has brought 40 employees with a combined payroll of $1.8 million into downtown Rock Island? This will increase to over 50 employees and $2.3 million once renovations are completed on the building. Project Now has collectively provided $2.5 million in assistance to the residents of Rock Island. This includes utility assistance, rent, deposits, water bill assistance, transportation, dental work, clothing, among other things. Project Now has also purchased an additional $51,000 of fuel from the city, as well as paid Friendship Manor, another nonprofit in Rock Island, $470,000 for senior meals. Project Now is economic development. We're simply asking the council to honor the agreement that it signed with Project Now. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Dwight the third.
Mayor, City Council, I had hoped that I wouldn't have to come and address the concerns that we have before us. Our agency has ran to the forefront to ensure that lives would not be lost in the harshest winter season that we've had in a couple of years. What I know for sure, as much of the things that we brought to fore with many other speakers, is that we are not the problem. I am saddened to say that many people, not all, would rather talk about us than to us. If businesses have had challenges, I understand them calling Jack Cullen in the Downtown Alliance. But we don't receive those calls. To the mayor's credit, there have been a few businesses that have contacted you. You have contacted me. And every one of them, I sat down with them. I'm in this community because I pastor a church right across from the agency that I lead. I'm in this community on Saturday nights and Sundays. And the same traffic that I saw at 3 o'clock this afternoon looking out my front door, which is a handful of people, is the same traffic I see on those days. Does that mean that people don't walk into places they should not go? No. But we are not being overrun. We got into this, I want the record to be clear, because there was a challenge inside of the library before we ever opened up the shelter. I have served and sat right back there where Mr. Jones sits as a member of the King Center. And we were having challenges then in the library. My commitment today is not to offend my colleague, Angela, in the library. My commitment this evening is to set the record straight. We do not have the capacity to endure half-truths and whole lies about what we do. Some of the people that have come tonight have been homeless. Some of the people that have come tonight are the ones that volunteer. What we have said, because this is a vicious rumor, that we are going to be shut down. I do not appreciate personal calls to my staff, yelling at them and telling them we ought to bow out and do what is right and end this now. We have 5 people that have come out of that shelter that are in housing in Rock Island now with their own keys. And they don't need Project Now for anything else. We have another 5 in the corridor. If we interrupt services now, we lose connection with them. We did not shut down our warming center. We simply transferred it to our partner, Christian Care, to give the walkway from Project Now old building to Project Now new building, 1830 2nd Avenue, a break. So we, rather than going north to south, we transferred the traffic east to west. We're just 6 weeks out from completing this season. We're going to keep our word. There is nothing that we have done to offend the fire marshal or anything that we've done to break our agreement. It hurts me to say we have more patience for a downtown district that have become debauchery and foolishness with negative activity. We have more patience for a Walmart that never came, and we have an empty space on 11th Street. Then 6 more weeks to keep people housed. I will say this as I conclude. 10 to 15% of the individuals are severely mentally ill. And these are the individuals that need some type of residential care. 10 to 15% are individuals that are severely addicted. And many of us know family members that have addictions. The rest of the people we are case managing, including domestic violence, sexual violence, and trafficking survivors. If we interrupt that service, they'll go back into the hands of an abuser or be exploited even more. I'm asking for the same patience you gave the downtown to get it right, to Walmart to get it right, for that same patience. You have in us a good partner. Do not make of us something that we're not. Thank you.
One more. Pardon? All right, Terry, is it McDowell? Terry? There you are.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody that has spoken briefly, wonderfully, eloquently to convey their message. And I pray that you guys hear it, receive it in the way that it was intended. I, however, am up here to speak concerning the shooting of Jakarta Jackson. We came and we asked you guys to acknowledge what happened. Now, on July 6th, we watched Sonia Massey be murdered by Officer Grayson after he escalated things, insisting she go remove a pot. He told her he was going to shoot her in the effing face. 2 minutes later, he did so. After she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." On the 5th of January, we watched Officer Taylor get out of his car and immediately start pursuing Jakarta. He never once told him, "Stop, you're under arrest." He never once called him by his name. Over 6 times he told him, "I'm going to effing shoot you." And he escalated things to the point where you guys said it was justified. When he ran up to the door, he didn't say, "Get out, you're under arrest, freeze." Not one time in any of those videos, not one time in one of the narratives that you guys have spun lies about who he was. A father of a 3-year-old. You've had his teachers come before you and tell you of the type of individual. It wasn't just his family members. It wasn't just people in the community. But yet, somehow in Springfield, that officer could be charged with murder for seeing and doing the same thing that Officer Taylor did in Rock Island. Y'all can sit here and act like this is just, it's going to pass over. And don't get me wrong, everything that you guys have said is very valid. We as a people have to come together, because if the government isn't representing the people, then who are they representing? If they're representing special interests over the values of the people. I love the comparison you guys gave to the hooligans that were causing violence and whatnot compared to homeless people just seeking a place to stay. Well, you had a young man that was profiled, according to the state's attorney's own report. The officer saw 2 suspects in a car with tinted windows. I drive around the Quad City every day. I'm back and forth on the highways between here and Galesburg, here and Clinton. And I see nothing but cars with tinted windows, but they're not being pulled over. But somehow they were being pulled over, then decided to run his license plates. According to your report, read the report. So that was the suspicion. 2 men in a dark colored car with tinted windows. So you ran the license plate, but never once did you call him by his name. Never once did you tell him to stop, that he was under arrest. You said, "Stop, I'm going to effing shoot you." And you guys act like that was okay. Well, the language wasn't acceptable. Well, damn it, he said it. This was his mindset. I ain't heard the chief come out and condemn anything but the language. Oh, but you guys say that the car was a weapon, right? But it shouldn't even got back to that point. Why did he pull out his baton and immediately started breaking the glass? Where's the de-escalation? But somehow it's acceptable if an officer with fully loaded armory, bulletproof vests, guns, tasers, blackjacks, pepper spray, he can be scared for his life and justified to shoot someone unarmed. But someone like me, unarmed, no gun, no weapon, no taser, no anything, I can be shut down. But if I say I'm scared and I'm running for my life, it's not justified? From somebody that's saying he's going to shoot me? Oh, wait, let me guess. If it's somebody that looks like me, says he's going to shoot me and I run for my life, I'm okay with that. But if it's somebody wearing a uniform, see, some people keep misconstruing this as though it's a race issue. I'm saying it's a policing issue. I'm saying it's a mayor issue. When are you guys going to represent us? When are you guys, why we got to come out here and talk about the good kids that get caught? I watched somebody lead the police on a 100-mile-an-hour police chase, brought in alive. I've watched people shoot at the police, brought in alive. People shoot up parades and literally kill people and are brought in alive. But somehow our people constantly being shot and y'all say it's justified?
Unfortunately, time is up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, time is up for what y'all been doing.
Okay, that's all that's signed up for public comment. So we're going to move on then to item number 7, which is Update Rock Island. I have a couple items. The St. Patrick's Society will hold its 39th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade this Saturday, March 15th. The parade begins downtown Rock Island at the corner of 4th Avenue and 23rd Street at 11:30 a.m. It travels through the downtown to Centennial Bridge and over to Davenport. The Grand St. Patrick's Day Parade is the only bi-state St. Patrick's Day Parade in the United States. Get your green on at the Arts Alley Shamrock Market. Downtown Rock Island's Arts Alley is your lucky charm for shopping this Saturday, March 15th, for the first ever Shamrock Market. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., just off St. Patrick's Day Parade, Grand Parade route. Pop-up vendors will be serving tasty treats, festive vibes, and Irish vibes from Blue Collar Bagels, Awake Coffee Company, and Flaherty's Irish Candy. Music will be provided by Ragged Records and Music. Congratulations to the Rock Island Police Department. Yesterday, the department participated in the annual Polar Plunge at Bally's Casino and Hotel to benefit Special Olympics. The Rock Island Police Department was named top law enforcement team after raising nearly $4,000. The total amount raised was $17,317 for a great cause. The Martin Luther King Center turns 50. The public is invited to attend an open house in celebration of King Center's 50th anniversary on Friday, March 21st from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. A short program will begin at 4 p.m. All are welcome. Thank you. Item number 8.
A report from the Community Development Department regarding an ordinance adopting and approving an amended Rock Island Tax Increment Financing Parkway I-280 redevelopment plan and related redevelopment projects for the proposed amended redevelopment project area. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
Thank you. Miles or maybe Tom, I'm not sure who would be more appropriate to answer the question. It's my understanding that we're hoping to use some of the revenue generated by this TIF for a wetland management plan, which has been discussed here tonight. Is that still the plan? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're hoping to use some of the revenue generated from this TIF district, this proposed TIF district, to fund a wetland management plan.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And for clarification with that, it has to be in the TIF to be able to be eligible. That's the reason it's included. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
First. Aye.
Robinson. Aye. Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
And Poulos.
Aye.
Item 8B. Report from the Community Development Department regarding an ordinance adding additional parcels of property to the Rock Island Tax Increment Financing Parkway I-280 redevelopment project area. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
And Poulos.
Aye.
Item 8C.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding an ordinance adopting tax increment financing for the amended Parkway I-280 redevelopment project area. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item 9A.
An ordinance regarding the rezoning of Realtors Park, PIN 16132000007, from a C1 Park Conservation District to a R1 Unit Residential District. Second reading. I apologize, I missed D. So
You gonna come back or?
I'm going to come back to that item.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yep.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Is this for 9A or?
Correct.
9A, I apologize. I skipped the other one. That was my fault. Moses, how would you like to vote?
Alderperson I said Healy.
Aye.
Okay. Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. And once again, item 8D, and I forgot. I apologize.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding an ordinance establishing the Parkway I-280 Business District, approving a business district plan, authorizing the imposition and collection of a sales tax within such business district, and approving certain actions in connection with the establishment of such business district. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item 9B.
A special ordinance regarding a right-of-way vacation request between 35th Street and Realtors Park. Second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item number 10.
Consent agenda items A through M.
Move to approve consent agenda items A through M.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item number 11.
Claim items A and B. I can read them if council so wishes.
Motion to approve claims A through B.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote. This will happen a few times tonight.
Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item number 12. A.
Report from the Community Development Department regarding the 2025 Art Service Agreement with Quad City Arts.
Move to approve the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item 12B.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the Southwest Treatment Plan Casino Manhole Relocation Project, recommending the bids be awarded to McClintock Trucking and Excavating in the amount of $192,240, ARPA restricted funds.
Motion to award the bid as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the document.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item number 12C.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a second amendment to the lease agreement with T-Mobile to include the installation of a backup generator at the 24th Street, 31st Avenue Water Tower site.
Motion to approve the amendment to the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
and Pulis.
Aye.
Item 12D.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a second amendment to a lease agreement with T-Mobile to include the installation of a backup generator at the 9010 Ridgewood Road Water Tower site.
Motion to approve the amendment to the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy. Aye. Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 12E.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the 2025 Seal Coat Asphalt Street Patching Program, recommending the bid be awarded to Langman Construction of Rock Island in the amount of $761,004.40.
Motion to approve the contract as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy. Aye. Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 12F.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the 2025 Sidewalk and Pavement Patching Program, recommending the bid be awarded to Langman Construction of Rock Island, Illinois, in the amount of $465,097.
Motion to,
Go ahead.
motion to award the contract as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I need to recuse myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 13.
A, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the ILCJIA Fund 904 in the amount of $35,876. B, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the MLK Activity Fund 901 in the amount of $20,000. C, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget adjustment to the Curliff Fund 584 in the amount of $125,000.
Move to approve budget adjustments A through C as recommended.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Can I say that this is a really good thing for the Curliff Fund?
Yes.
We're finally giving out a loan for the first time in 7 years, 8 years? So somewhere around there. It is a wonderful program that we have revamped, just trying to get money into commercial business hands. So this is a wonderful project for a children's daycare, and it's something that is needy in the city. So it's awesome. So thank you to staff for this. Appreciate it.
Well said. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 13D through F.
Report from the Finance Department regarding a budget carryover from CY 2024 to the TIF number 1 Downtown Fund 201 in the amount of $16,867.49. E, report from the Finance Department regarding a budget carryover for CY 2024 in the General Fund 101 in the amount of $227,417.19. F, report from the Finance Department regarding budget carryovers from CY 2024 in the Community Economic Development Fund 207 in the amount of $268,000. The Community Development Block Grant CFDA Fund 242 in the amount of $262,791.67, and the Curliff Fund in the amount of $29,262.
Motion to approve budget carryover D through F.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hurt.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 14.
A, report from the Public Works Department regarding a monthly increase in the sewer lateral repair program and water service repair program, with an increase in the city's maximum obligation for each repair under this program to $20,000.
Motion to approve the rate increases and the city's maximum obligation as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to say this is a great, both these are great programs. I signed up immediately when they were available. My only comment would be I think the sewer lateral program needs to have a higher limit than the water. If you look at historically, and even the numbers provided now by Public Works, more of the sewer laterals repairs are going over the limit, and I'm concerned that 20,000 isn't enough for the sewer, even if
it requires another dollar increase or something per month. I know we're not going to do it now, but I guess maybe next year Public Works could look at it and see if some of the sewer bills start going over that amount. We could look at raising it at that time and not waiting, I guess, 7 or 8 years to raise it.
Well said.
Mike, how is the lead service line replacement program going to impact these programs?
Well, we've started looking into that. Obviously, with the water service repair program, that would tie in with the lead service replacement program. We have kicked around the discussion of if you're signed up for the water service repair program, that you pay an additional fee, and that would pay for the lead service replacement if you do have a lead service. But it's too early on to tie that down.
Okay.
All right. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye. Item 15.
A, report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding a request from Brian Hollenbach for the locks at Rock Island LLC, 119th Street, to place their parking lot under city ordinance control. First reading.
Move to approve the request and consider the ordinance. Suspend the rules and, no, hold on. Move to approve the request, consider the ordinance, suspend the rules and pass it or something like that, right?
Yep, you got it.
Did I get that right?
I don't know.
You got your second right. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
Tweet.
Aye.
Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
And Pulis.
Aye.
Item 16.
The Port Authority. Rock Island Port Authority.
Rock Island
Need a
Port
motion.
Move to close the regular city council meeting and convene the Rock Island Regional Port District meeting.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Well, obviously, I always turn to Miles or Tom. Anything different, new to report?
Yes, we return once more to the Port District meeting. We had the RFP out, call for RFPs out. It is now closed. We received 3 responses for this master planning project. We have just begun our review of those 3 proposals. All seem competitive and interesting, so very promising. We hope to bring a recommendation before the council sometime soon.
Very good. Anybody have any questions, concerns, thoughts? If not, item C. Need a motion to exist.
Motion to exit the Rock Island Regional Port Authority and reconvene the regular city council meeting.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 17, other business, new business. Anybody wish to bring anything up? Hearing none, seeing none, we have item number 18.
Closed session 5 ILCS 122C11 litigation when an act against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for this finding must be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
Move to enter closed session for the exception cited.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.